Hello, welcome back to a new video. I hope you're doing good. I'm doing fine. I'm doing good. You know, it's still the same day as last week's video. I decided, you know, if I'm still out, I can record another one. So here it goes. I hope you're still, you know, that happens from time to time. English fails me. I hope you're still doing good. You know, I'm doing nice. It's like I've never been here. Looks very nice, very foresty. Can't wait to get a bit warmer, to look even better, and you know, to have this fresh spring smell. So can't wait for this. And you know, like all the small trails here. So like it's very tempting, you know, to go off-road, but I don't have the tires for it right now. So yeah, so I will stay on the road for now. Yeah, so let's talk about a different topic. You know, I said last time, I want to talk about a driver's license, and it's basically, I guess, you know, more like a story time than anything else. And because like if a colleague of mine, a friend of mine, is currently like upgrading his motorcycle license. So like in Germany there are different motorcycle license classes, like A1, A2 and A. And currently he has A1, so he's limited to a certain cc. So you cannot go riding a bike above a certain number like of cc. So I think A1 is like 150 or so. But not sure. So he's upgrading from A1 to A2. He technically could go from A1 to A and be open and have like riding all the motorcycles, but it is easier to upgrade, you know, and it's cheaper. Like if you go from A1 to A, you need to do all the tests, all the theory, all the riding classes again, like full hours, full theory and so on. And if you upgrade, you don't need to do the theory. You just need to do some practical lessons, and basically it's just 1 or 2 to see that you can ride, and then you do another test on a bigger bike, and that's basically it. So very cheap, or at least cheaper. And for him it's enough to just upgrade. Then you need to wait 2 years, and then you can do another upgrade from A2 to A. And it's basically the same procedure. So I guess at the end you're saving a bit of money and some time. So yeah, but he's currently going through this process. And then I thought about like how, oh, that one looks nice. It looks like rain. I'm not sure if it looks like rain or not, or just the sun rays coming through. But it looks nice. It looks super cool. But actually, I wanted to talk, or like give some story time how I actually got into riding, you know. And it started when I lived in the UK. It was, I don't know, like 2017, I would say. I was alone in the UK, and I was in the kitchen and watching some YouTube videos. And all of a sudden, like some YouTube video from a MotoVlogger popped up, and I watched it. And I actually, like, I enjoyed it. So it was super cool. And I thought it was something different. I thought it was an animal. And it was super cool. And then once you like watch one, you watch the second one, the third one, and then you get all the recommendation from other motovloggers and so on. So, but I kept to this one. It was super cool, super funny, and it was just, I don't know, it was just amazing. He was from US, and then because I was then in 2017 or 16, I'm not sure, 16 or 17. I was then moving to Canada. It was 2016 August, yes. 2017 in February I moved to Canada. In 2017 I moved to Canada, so I looked up on YouTube to find a Canadian motovlogger, and there actually were like plenty of them. And I watched one guy, pretty cool as well, funny, a bit more, I don't know, a bit more dicey what the content is, like wheeling on public roads and so on. I'm not a fan of this, but everyone, you know, is different. And back in the day, YouTube, it was all about the clicks and controversy and so on. But I watched him because he had some nice road trips going from, I don't know, from his place to New York and other places, as well as in Canada. So this was super cool to see, and that's actually what I wanted to do as well. So for me, when I arrived in Canada, I was like, okay, I want to do something different with my life. This is like a different continent. It's not Europe anymore. It's something completely different. So I wanted to try something else. And for me, it was like, okay, I want to ride a motorcycle. I always wanted to ride a motorcycle since I was 18. My dad said, like, you know, do your car license and do a motorcycle license together, you know. But I didn't do it, you know, because I thought it would not be that fun. And I think in hindsight it was probably the best or the better decision not to do it. Because I guess I would rather be like a bit more reckless, I think. I'm not sure, but you know, it's in the past. I cannot change the past, so I didn't do it. So I decided to do it in Canada. So then in Canada, it was winter, was very cold, but I looked at like how is the process to get the license and how does it work. And they had a colleague next to me, and because I was looking at gear all the time, and he asked me questions, then we started to talk and so on. And then he also decided, you know, to do the same test with me to get his motorcycle license. He wasn't into bikes. He had no idea about bikes. He wasn't even watching videos and so on. So, but he got infected by my enthusiasm, I would say. And then we did the test together. It was not very difficult, to be honest. It was like very straightforward, very simple. Even as a foreigner in a different country, you know, I had my B license, so I changed from European B or car license to a Canadian car license, and then I was allowed to do my license there. So it was, I think, $450 Canadian dollars, and the oral test or the written test was basically like 2 hours. Like I said, 2 hours with a bunch of people in a classroom. That's normally how it works. And you get like we got a PowerPoint presentation like for 2 hours. And yeah, very straightforward, lane positioning, what to do, what to avoid, what to look after, and so on. Nothing really specific or difficult, I would say, especially since I was watching all the videos. I was pretty aware of what to do and what not to do. I guess. At least that's what my instructor later told me. And then at the end of those 2 hours, we did a test. But we didn't do the test on our own. We did this together with the co-class. So basically the instructor or the teacher read out the question aloud, and then we all answered in unison. You know, we like, some people said like A and this to the same question, and some said D, and of course only one was correct. And basically we all passed, you know. It was super cool. It was a nice experience. I'm not sure if I would have passed if I were alone, because, you know, English and questions is it's a different language. It's still very tricky, you know. But it was nice. The way that everything was handled was super nice. Not like this house. So it was pretty cool to see. So, and this was it. So we all passed our written exam, I would say. And then a week later, on a weekend, this was a Saturday and Sunday, we went to practical, like, you know, to actually sit on a bike and learn how to ride a motorcycle. It was like 2 days, Saturday and Sunday, from 9 a.m. in the morning till 4 p.m. or 3 p.m., something like this. And yeah, so the first of all, I showed up in full gear. You know, commitment, you know. It was 30 degrees. It was so hot, even for Canadians, and it was so hot. I was in full gear. Luckily it was summer gear, but still very hot. And, you know, everyone was like, wow, awesome, nice. Even the instructors were like, the first time they saw something like this. So super cool. really appreciated this, and they appreciated that I showed up, you know, in full gear as well. But you know, after the initial start and introduction, how it works, we basically just sat on a bike, like we were partnered up with another person, and the other person sat on a bike, and basically we push the partner around, you know, a parking lot. We were basically on a parking lot, we were pushed around the partner on a parking lot, just, you know, how the bike feels. Not even starting the bike, just, you know, push another partner, get a feel for the bike, and so on. So we did this. Then we did a rock and roll, so basically you leave the clutch, the bike moves a bit forward, then you pull the clutch in, and the bike comes back and so on. So we did this, and then actually we did the full, you know, the full first gear, I would say, like go first gear and then riding around, you know, the parking lot. So the first day was pretty much all of this, you know, first gear, maybe second gear, very slow paced, very easy, nothing super complicated, nothing hardcore, I would say. Very easy and relaxed. So the second gear, we then actually in the morning, so it was the Sunday, and then in the afternoon we had our practical test, you know. And in the morning we still repeated what we learned from the previous day, and then the instructors told us, you know, now we're learning what we need to do in order to pass the test. And that's actually what we did, you know. We then learned what to do. So nothing too crazy. Nothing too crazy. It was just, you know, avoiding an obstacle and so on in last second. So basically what we had an instructor standing, like we were going, I don't know, we were never going above a certain speed. I think it was like third gear maximum and 30 kilometers maximum. I think it was even lower, 20 or something. Anyway, we were going towards the instructor, and then at the last second he pointed either left or right, and then we needed to do, not even using blinkers or indicators, and then we needed to do like a shoulder check, you know, shoulder check, left or right depending, and then avoid him, and then continue on this direction. This was it. We had like 3 or 4 or 5 chances, and that and if you pass, we pass. So this was the first one. The second one was going like driving in like an obstacle course, like to do like left and right and so on. So it was pretty easy. And the other one was just like start and stop, emergency brakes as well. Same instructor was like, you know, stop. He pulled up his hand, and then we need to stop without like losing the bike or anything. And that was basically it. Like very straightforward. Almost everyone passed. 2 people didn't pass. They were very scared of the bike, you know, because they were on the bike with their partners before and they fell, and the partners were basically like forcing them to their loved ones, you know, not the partners from the course, but the loved ones basically said like, okay, if something happens to me while we're on a road trip, you need to also have a license and then be able to drive my motorcycle. So they were not really comfortable doing this. But all the others, they were super hyped about this because it's in their nature basically. So most of the kids in Canada, they drive in the woods with the dirt bikes and so on. So they are already experienced. And the instructor told me like they are not worried about me because they can see that I have kind of experience, even though I don't. But they noticed that I watched a lot of videos and so on, how to handle a bike and so on. But the thing is, we never actually went on public roads. You know, we never went on public roads. We stayed in the parking lot, never went above a certain speed, and also never used our indicators. So this was crazy to me. A few months later, I think it was in May when we passed. A few months later, in July, like middle of July or mid-July something, I bought my first motorcycle. Maybe I will talk about this in a different episode, not sure yet. A Honda CB 300F, so like from 2018. And it was my first bike. So basically what I did, I went to the dealership, bought the bike, and then I of course needed to pick up the bike. But I've never been on public roads before, so for me this was very crazy to be on public roads with my own bike. You know, everything was insured of course, but if you have never ridden a motorcycle before on public roads, and there have been only like you had 2 days of like learning how to do it, it was crazy to me. So I asked a friend of mine who has like had some experience like riding a bike and so on, to go with me and then be in front in a car, and I will go behind him, so I will just follow him to be safe and to know where to go, because you know I couldn't imagine even doing stuff with intercom or following Google Maps and so on. So for me this was crazy. So we went to a parking lot, because it was like kind of industrial area. So we went to a parking lot where we just practiced going left and right, because I want to get a feel for the bike. But it's just not a good idea, because I was getting more anxious to like, I thought if I do a mistake, you know, things, you know, I don't know, start to get in your head and so on. So I was like, okay, let's just do it, you know. So I basically just followed him and tried to do my best. Of course, you know, it's it's so different to use like an indicator, shoulder check, and then actually move over, take care of pedestrians, take care of other cars, like not like this person who almost like ran the sidewalk here, take care of all the pedestrians and so on. It is very, very, very different. So it probably wasn't like a very good training, but in the end I managed, you know. Of course I lost him, and I needed to get to his place on my own. I had no idea how I managed it, but I somehow did. So and from there it was fine, you know. We then called a friend, the friend I did the motorcycle lessons with and so on. Of course he passed as well. He even had a bike earlier than I had, and then we went on a quick ride to a lake, and then you get the feel for the motorcycle, because you know, in a city it's very difficult to learn, to get an understanding for your new bike. But when you're out on country roads, you can just try different stuff and so on. And that's what we basically did. He, like my colleague in the car, he went front. He know where to go and so on. And I just followed him, and behind me were like a friend of mine. And this basically how I learned to ride. When I came back to Germany, of course my Canadian motorcycle license was not valid, so I needed to do it again. But luckily I didn't do any theory lessons, or at least I didn't need to sit down for it. So what I did, I just practiced, did the theory course, passed, and had like 1 or 2 lessons to get to grasp with the new bike, and then passed as well. So very straightforward. And then a year later I bought this bike here. So overall, this is my journey, how I got into riding. So thanks to a random YouTube video, I guess, I learned how to ride, or I got infected with the virus of, like, you know, of how cool it is to ride a motorcycle. And then I did my lessons in Canada. Of course I went on a big trip in Canada as well. That was really hardcore on my Honda. And this where I then figured out, okay, I want to do, you know, more like a touring bike, more like long distance riding, upright. The naked bike wasn't really good for transporting anything. So that's where I decided, okay, I want to try and to do something different. And this is basically how I ended up with the BMW. Because it was the bike that I was looking for. Yeah, so this is my story, how I got into motorcycles, and I'm still infected. I still like it, and we'll see what the future brings, you know. So that's enough with this story time video. You know, let me know how you got into riding a bike, if you had like similar experience like I had in Canada, or if it was completely different. So yeah, just let me know. Anyway, I had fun like doing it the way I did. You need to be very confident to also to do it, you know. So, but it was fine, you know. But anyway, that's enough of me rambling about this topic. I hope you're doing good. I wish you a fantastic day, and enjoy it with friends, family, loved ones. Make the best out of it, and you know, take care of yourself. Have a good one. Let me know in the comments below what your experience is. Would really appreciate it. And yeah, have an awesome day. Talk to you soon. Bye bye. Ciao.